Hello everyone and welcome to the Redmen TV. It is the Uncensored match build-up ahead of Liverpool versus Fulham in the first leg of the League Cup semi-final. I'm Ste Hood, joined by Errol Smith, and over at the board we've got the legend Ste Plunkett as well. We'll head over to Ste in a moment, but first of all, Errol, it's an interesting time to be a Red at the moment. Things are going swimmingly well on the pitch. The only thing that's gone wrong is all the injury stuff, and we're going to, there's always pros and cons of what teams you pick in cup games and what you do and what you don't do. And, you pick a full-strength team and you beat Arsenal, but then you lose a player to a knee injury. This time it's Trent Alexander-Arnold's going to be out for a few weeks. It does feel like we're almost like the walking wounds at the moment, but they're walking towards silverware. And it feels like nothing's stopping them at the moment. The latest obstacle in that is a very good Fulham team. They're the latest time stop the Reds.
That's the only drawback, is what you just mentioned there. This Fulham side will be confident. They'll fancy themselves. They know that they've caused us problems already at once this season. And I think from our perspective, the injuries, we knew you can't avoid them. The amount of games that these players play, season on season now, international competitions as well thrown in the mix, you can't avoid getting injuries throughout the course of the season. We've been fortunate. However, we seem to have a lot on the physio bench now or on the treatment room. And it's just at a time where we are going to get a little bit of a break, but there seems to be that final push, one last push. And I think to play them again at Anfield in the first leg of it, I don't think, if you were talking about Middlesbrough, maybe even Chelsea, you'd think we could put it to bed here, give ourselves a comfortable 2-3-0 cushion and something to just defend. If you put a weakened team out with a strong bench for the next leg, you'll manage that 90 minutes effectively. I don't think we're going to have that luxury. I think Fulham will push us across the whole 180 minutes, potentially even more if Liverpool can't reach those levels that we know we're going to need to get to the final. But it's exciting, mate, at the same time, because as you say, there's a final round the corner. Liverpool are looking good. The lads are confident. They're backing each other. They've got that fight. They've got that little bit of belief that this season is going to lead to some sort of success on some level. So I think there's a lot of lads there that want to prove themselves now. A lot of the weight of you carry the slack for your teammates. Yep. A lot of that's been carried by a lot of other members. Lads coming back in like McAllister, Gravenberch. It's their time to really shine now, and not necessarily stamp the place down for a starting 11, but say, do you know what? The drop off in quality isn't that significant, and I can come in and I can fill the spot, and the levels will still be maintained. And I think that's the one thing that I would really like us to really push through. I know there's a pain barrier. I know that it's another game thrown in midweek, but if we're able to do that, I think we'll be able to come out of this game unscathed, really.
Absolutely. Speaking of the injuries then, Jurgen Klopp obviously had his press conference. It's a lie, it wasn't Jurgen Klopp, it was Pep Linders who takes the League Cup press conference. So Pep spoke to the media yesterday and gave an update on Trent Alexander-Arnold's knee and another couple of issues as well. So check out what Pep had to say, and then we'll come back and have a little guess of what the team Jurgen and Pep will pick for this one in a sec.
Bad news though, obviously the injury to Trent. Just tell us a bit about that. What's going on?
So he hyperextended his knee in the game. So he has a little tear in the collateral ligament. So he will be out probably 3 weeks. Big blow. He was one of our most important players. He created a lot of dynamics, was always decisive. Even in bad spells, he was the one who put the balls where it was where we made the difference. We will have to find new dynamics without him, because he made our game flexible. So big blow, but hopefully 3 weeks, and with the winter break in between. Winter break, a few days, but
Do you have Virgil available again? Szoboszlai, when's he back? And Thiago, is he a couple of weeks?
So Virgil ran yesterday while we're doing the training with the subs. So he did a few jogs. He looked good. He was smiling, speaking. He did together with Jot, so that looked good. Now he will be back if he doesn't have a. That's the second thing as well. That these phases where you get sickness as well. You get players who get ill or staff who get ill. But so he looks good to go. Dom is progressing well on the pitch, running, so he's not far away. Robbo is on the 3rd month mark, so he has another scan. If that goes well, then we can really decide when to have more contact. What's the tricky thing with this injury? Costas is going quicker as expected. So they both, Robbo and Costas, will be back probably in the end of this month, training with the team. So then it's still time. Huh? And Stefan and Thiago will be into next month, but no complications, so that's good.
Yeah, so there you have it. A bit of updates on the injury front. The Trent one's obviously the main news. Positive updates, I suppose, on Andy Robertson and Kostas Tsimikas, but we're still a few weeks away from either of those two being back in training. So yeah, with all that being said, I'm going to head over to the board. Steve, we've got a team behind you there that you think potentially is an option for tonight. We're still waiting for official confirmation, although there's a couple of rumours there. I suppose, mate, the first question I want to ask you is Conor Bradley at right back potentially? We've heard that that's probably what's going to happen. We saw he had a decent little cameo the other day against Martinelli for Arsenal, but you know, Marco Silva's had a day at least now to know that Trent wasn't going to be playing, so Conor Bradley is probably going to be the target for Fulham. How do you expect him to go, and what do you think Liverpool could do to 12 him out a little bit?
The funny thing is, it won't be so black and white to go down that side, because he's a bit more of an orthodox fullback than Trent. He won't really step into midfield in the way that we've seen. So the manager and Pep have spoken up about this guy. We really like him. We've got big plans for him. So good to see him. He's getting his opportunity. He did well when he came on the other day. You know, both of them did when they came on the other day. Little tactical fouls and things like that, which, you know, the dark arts, which we love to see. I think he'll be fine. I think, you know, in front of him there'll be some cover. Alongside him will be Konate, and if Konate carries on in the form he's been playing in, then that's a brilliant someone to play alongside. So a good opportunity for him. You know, did really well on his loan. They thought the world of him. He's come in now. You know, Ramsey, hasn't happened for him. He's gone out on loan. So there is a right back cover position available, and this is his chance to start to make that his own.
Yeah, I suppose Errol as well. Like, it's all right doing it for 15 minutes. And listen, Martinelli, he done a good job against Martinelli. We can't argue, but I'm guessing it's going to be Willian. I would guess different type of player, experienced, canny, veteran. Martinelli, for all as good as he is, he's still a young kid.
Yeah.
You'd think Willian, with all his nous, played against some of the best right backs in world football over the last 10 years or something. If you're Willian, you're licking your lips. And listen, this is no disrespect to Conor Bradley. Conor Bradley could be amazing, but if you're Willian and you think, right, semi-final, and they're playing a young kid, effectively what the third or fourth choice potential option at right back, I'm in here. And if you're Willian, you are probably, you know, ready to give Conor Bradley a torrid time. And the young lad, he's had a good loan spell at Bolton last season.
Wasn't he their player of?
He won loads of awards. He's had lots going for him, but this is a different kettle of fish now, isn't it?
Yeah, certainly isn't. I'll take a little bit of solace in the man that stood next to him, really.
Big Ebert helps him out a little bit.
Yeah, and I'm not saying help him to bail him out, but
bail Trent out a couple of times, mate. He needs must, you know what I mean?
There is that, but the reality is we've levelled in the past is when Verge isn't there, who's going to be the leader in that back line? Well, the other day we seen Konate having to, 100%. Even though he's a firefighter and that's his style of defending, he still had that commanding leadership approach to his game in that back line, the way he marshalled it, the way he was talking to people, the way he was kind of, you know, he was aggressive, which it was really like refreshing to see. He almost upped his aggression. Maybe it was just because of Arsenal, maybe it was the occasion, but it was really good to see because Virgil wasn't there. There was no place to hide for any of the back four the other day. So the fact that we kept a clean sheet at the Emirates was really impressive. And there was a couple of young men alongside him throughout that night as well. So for me, I think Bradley will take confidence that he doesn't have to do it all. He doesn't have to pretend to be Trent. He doesn't have to do the inverted role. He doesn't have to do anything like that. Maybe the move of Gravenberch going over there as well is to help and just kind of put extra bodies in and around that area to nullify Willian's threat. And then, of course, in the worst case scenario and the occasions where, and then you expect, I always say, brilliant wingers should beat brilliant fullbacks because that's their bread and butter.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like a brilliant fullback will still have his moments in the game, but I would still expect a winger to get the better of them in terms of getting past them. What they then go on to do is in terms of end product is a different, you know, it's a different story altogether. But in those moments where he will have to be bailed out, I would expect Konate to shut the door in the same way that he did with Martinelli, mate. And I think that, to me, is where I'm going to take that little bit of confidence that between the two of them, maybe Gravenberch in that midfield, they will work that out throughout the course of the 90 minutes to give him as much protection as possible.
Absolutely, and we shall get on, and fingers crossed him, yeah, what a moment for him. The League Cup semi-final, getting a start, fair play to Conor Bradley, if indeed that does happen, which we expected to. Very quickly, we're only a couple of, 3 or so minutes away from the official teams. It looks like it's going to be Harvey Elliott on the right, Luis Diaz on the left, and Diogo Jota up front, which leaves you with Darwin Núñez and Cody Gakpo on the bench. The Elliott right wing thing's always been a bone of contention, really. You know, he does lack pace. I think we can all agree on that thing. He's technically very good, but it does look like the manager, although he changed him out of that position at half-time against Arsenal, he's going to give him another go at it today. What do you think of that? Because there was some talk Luis Diaz, who actually performed so well in that second half, he's an option, and he still could be one later in the game, but it looks like the manager's going to give Harvey Elliott another go on that right-hand side.
In terms of creativity and keeping hold of the ball and looking after the ball, Harvey's as good as anybody. He's as good as Mo Salah at that, I'd argue. So in terms of transition and pace, yes, the ability to stretch his legs isn't perhaps the same as it was with Mo, but he's a seasoned player now. He's played 50 games in the first team, so he knows what the tactics are about. He's a good user of a football. He gets it out of his feet really quickly. The Gravenberch thing's really interesting for me in terms of how he supports Elliott and how he supports Bradley, because certainly going backwards we wanted a little bit more from Gravenberch when we haven't got the ball, but Harvey might dovetail with him and swap and do a little bit in defensive work there as well. So I'm not worried the fact he's playing right wing. It just doesn't mean when it breaks from a corner we can do one of those lightning attacks down the right hand side, because he just can't get there. He just doesn't have the leg speed to do it. So but listen, we trust him. He's a good footballer, technically very sound. The lads he's playing in and around will see plenty of ball from him. He's a good footballer. It's another good opportunity for him.
Suppose as well, the flexibility of Harvey Elliott means you can make changes. Even you can make changes like Jürgen did the other day without making subs. You know, that was the winner. That's what won us the game the other day. Certainly, if you really wanted to, you can put Gravenberch into the front three. You can put Curtis Jones into the front. You can move things around. He does have Gakpo and Nunes. It looked like going to be on the bench, and confirmed. But yeah, I was surprised that having jibbed it off after half an hour, or well after a half against Arsenal, he's gone back to it. Again, he has to manage minutes. I understand that, but yeah, it's somewhat of a surprise perhaps that Harvey's back out there.
Yeah, maybe, but I think he might be afforded a little bit more space. I thought Reece Nelson the other day was probably Arsenal's best attacker, but it was his work rate off the ball that also impressed me as well, and the willingness to get back. I don't imagine Willian will want to be going back the other way much. He'll want to be causing Bradley as much problems as possible. So if that means Harvey's just 1v1, that might give him a little bit more space to operate in. If he's got more space, we might see the game that we've seen against West Ham. I think he was in the front three for West Ham, wasn't he? Where we absolutely run riot against them. So it would be nice to see if we could kind of get that level of fluidity back in the mix, because it seemed, whatever they did that night, it seemed to work. So I think, you know, we're on the verge of team news dropping. Yeah,
I've got it here. It's the team that Steve's got behind him, really. Steve, the bench is a little bit different, so you might have to see... Well, there's an Owen Beck one that we forgot to put on there somewhere. If you can source Owen Beck in that pile of stuff, if not, we'll have to get one made another time.
Okay, but yeah, have a look in a minute.
It's the team is Kelleher, Gomez, Van Dijk, Konate, and Connor, Bradley in midfield, and McAllister, Jones, and Elliott and Jota. Sorry, McAllister, Jones, and Gravenberch, and then Jota, Elliott, and Luis Diaz up on the bench. Alisson's on the bench, not Adrian, which is a change from recent weeks. Adrian's been the League Cup goalie, but Liverpool have got Alisson on there. Nunes, Gakpo, Clark, Gordon, McConnell, Beck, Kwanzaa, and Tai and Yoni. So it's basically you need to get rid of McConnell. I'm not even sure we've got a Beck one. Get rid of McConnell, and we'll find a Beck one somewhere down the line if we haven't got one already. I wanted to ask you, Steve, now that has been confirmed, what do you make of the midfield? Because the balance is interesting, because Jones and Gravenberch both feel like they want to play left-hand side of the three. Yeah. Every time we've seen pretty much both of them playing, that's what they've wanted. We saw Curtis obviously drop into a number 6 role the other day. Liverpool aren't giving nothing away anymore. They've stopped doing it. Their team news is now in number order rather than in positional. But we've landed on the board there with Jones left, Gravenberch right, but that could easily swap out. What do you think the thinking will be there? Is it basically Curtis has been that good that you don't move him and say to Ryan Gravenberch, soz me, but you have to earn that role, or do you go back to the way and give Ryan a more natural position, because he has probably been struggling a little bit recently?
I think Curtis gets first dibs, if you like, of that role, because he's been that effective there. So I would personally wouldn't move Curtis. As I said before this section, I thought we wanted to see more from Gravenberch, and we don't have the ball. You know, he played in a more defensive role for Ajax before going to Bayern Munich. We haven't really seen too much of him going backwards towards his goal. He's a lovely footballer, holds onto the ball really well and can go past the man going forward. Harvey Elliott will benefit from that, as will Jota.
I've done you no favours, sorry Steve, I'll interrupt you. It's Chambers is not on the bench. Chambers, you can launch Chambers. McConnell is on the bench. It's not Chambers. I was going to say, 2 left backs would have been quite something if it was Beck and Chambers. That was my fault. I read that.
And that's the, you know, you talked before about these 2 lads, Nunes and Gakpo, on the bench. we really are threadbare, aren't we? If we need something in the game, that's where we're going. And not to say those guys can't do a job for us, but over the course of the season, we've lauded the quality on the bench, and we're kind of running on empty a little bit. So
anytime you lose 10 players or something, you are going to be in a bit of bother. What do you make, Steve? Come back to you on the goalie situation. He's been loyal to Keith Kelleher, and he said all along this is his competition. We saw when Liverpool last won the competition, Keith Kelleher played every game, played the final, scores a penalty in the final as well in the shootout. So and he done well, but I think it's fair to say we've been less impressed with Keith Kelleher this season than we were in 2022. But yeah, any worries that it's a little bit of a makeshift, at least on the right hand side of the defensive front, and the goalkeeper, to be fair to him, he hasn't been in the best form for Liverpool this season. Keith Kelleher, certainly he hasn't been as good this season as he was in those cup runs that year.
No, he hasn't, and obviously with the inclusion of Bradley, you kind of think, okay, so there's a little bit more concentration required there. Look, you don't become a bad goalkeeper overnight, but you don't become the goalkeeper that everybody thinks he's going to be by playing understudy to Alisson Becker 9 times out of 10. I think it's the right thing to do. I think, in terms of where we are in the season, what we're trying to do, what we're trying to achieve, and Alisson's already had a little spell out with a niggle, then it's probably a sensible thing to do, and it would be Kelleher over Adrian all day long for all of us. Yeah. He's still a good goalkeeper. The question will come again in the summer as to what we do with him. Another opportunity today, if he wants to put himself in the shop window. I kind of agree with Errol. Fulham Fulham got nothing to lose. They're not heading towards a trapdoor. They're not pulling up trees in the Premier League. They're doing very well in terms of their resources and the size of the club. This is it for them. The semi-final with this competition is it for them.
And make no mistake as well, they're looking at it and seeing the result from last night and thinking, actually, if we can bloody Liverpool's nose and still be in the tie with 90 minutes to play at our gaff at the Cottage, anything can happen, and fucking it could be Middlesbrough in the final. Mate, we might not, even though it's Liverpool we're up against, we might not get a better chance to go all the way and lift it than what we've got right now. So as much as we can say if we can brush them aside, then we're going to brush Middlesbrough or Chelsea.
So arguably the hardest part for them is to get over this two-legged hurdle.
That's what I'm saying. This
and then it could be an easier final than anticipated.
Exactly, and that is extra G'd up motivation to empty the tank, give it your all, because as you say, these teams are still wanting silverware at the end of their season as well. They still want to, top the season, give their fans something to cheer and celebrate.
It's the first time in their history they've been this far in this competition.
It's worth mentioning as well, whoever wins this tie wins it for me. The cup. I think Fulham are currently better than Chelsea. Yeah. They're probably better than Middlesbrough, or just better than Middlesbrough. They are, and so I believe whoever gets through this wins it.
I think if we would have drew either of the other two teams after last night,
it'd have been a Fulham Liverpool final.
It could have been a Fulham Liverpool final, and we would have had the tie done in one leg. We'd have blew them away. Even with this side going out there, and with the injuries that we've picked up, we'd have just blew them away. But we can't look past Fulham in this tie, which makes you think it's the same set of circumstances for us, really. If we beat them, then you can look and say there should be an easy final awaiting you. But at the end of the day, Fulham aren't going to roll over and have the bellies tickled tonight.
I don't think there's a massive microscope on this fella here at all, because he's going to be more orthodox. So we talk about Willian. Yeah. Willian would have enjoyed the space given to him by Elliot.
You say that right, Steve. I do remember in pre-season he asked them to do the inverted stuff, and it'd be interesting to see that, won't it? Yeah. That's a lot on the young lads' plate. If it's just I will bring you the Fulham team now, actually, because Willian is in it, just to confirm. It's a very they interestingly, they've gone strong. They rested players for the FA Cup game, and they played on Friday. It's worth mentioning a lot of things in Fulham's favour. So
the Corey Reed, he loves a goal against us as well.
He has. Leno in goal, Castagna, Tosin, Diop, and Anthony Robertson at left back. Like Anthony Robertson, good player. Paulinho and Reed as their two. Yeah, Cordova, Reed, Andres Pereira, Willian, and then Raul Jimenez up front. So it's a strong Fulham team as well.
As strong as it could have been, really, let's be honest.
Yeah, they've got a couple of issues. They've got a couple of issues in terms of Iwobi's gone, Bassey, they've both gone to AFCON. They probably would have both been in their team. But yeah, it's a very good, strong attacking Fulham team. And how much do you think the fact that they did have a rest and they played Friday, it has to play some part, Errol. Liverpool had a tough slog at the Emirates on Sunday, and look at all those players who played. Van Dijk's come back in, Conor Bradley's come back in, and Diogo Jota. But a lot of those players played at least an hour at the weekend against Arsenal. Tough game. With all due respect, Fulham, I know they won 1-0, and Rotherham didn't roll over and get the bellies tickled, but they did rest players, and they've had an extra 2 days. if you're a Fulham fan, you're probably thinking there's never a better time to be playing Liverpool. Everything's kind of going our way, including the injuries, AFCON players, Asia Cup players, extra couple of days rest. They went to Arsenal where we play Rotherham. Like, there's a lot of things if you're a Fulham fan. If this was the Fulham FC TV,
the omens are looking good for you right now.
Basically, anything that you could have, any of those little advantages, you've probably got a few of them.
You've got them, yeah, and that's where Liverpool have got to be on job tonight. It's got to be ultra professional. We've got to galvanise and utilise the home crowd advantage for this game, because that is not our best defence. But if we make that a hostile environment, we can take away and eradicate any of those little niggling advantages that they've had peppered in, as you've just mentioned there, before the ball's even kicked. We've got to set that tone now. We've got to really put the impetus on us, from the fans into the stands, straight into the players, and the players have then got to come out to the bullocks fast. It's got to be a strong start from the lads. And don't get me wrong, you've just told me that with that double pivot there, they're going to want to be up for that midfield battle. It's going to be such an interesting dynamic, because we spent a lot of time last season dissecting or predicting where midfield battles were going to be won and lost, and a lot of the times they was lost for us last season, and we could see the gaping holes and the frailties that we had. This season, I wouldn't really necessarily say it's been a midfield battle, because we've had so many moving parts that we can utilise. We've been able to box smart. If you was a boxer, you'd be thinking you're boxing smart, you're not going for big haymakers at the minute. Tonight, these lads are going to try and be resolute, and we're going to have to work our way to break them down, and we're going to have to...
And they've got pace on the break,
and then you've got that pace on the break. So it's everything that has been Liverpool's Achilles heel.
Last year for sure. And even in years when we've been on good runs, a team like this, what was it when we could have went invincible, and Watford, it was fucking Watford. Pace on the break. Who's that winger that they had?
Ismail Sarr.
Yeah,
it can do. It can do.
He can just do, yeah. So in those moments, you're just hoping that, as you say, we can just nullify any of those little advantages that they feel like they felt that they've gained over the past couple of days, and we want to tire out their legs within 30-40 minutes, so that when we do bring on our heavy hitters, because we really only have two big hitters to really call on, they can just run the other lads ragged and actually give us that edge, and hopefully giving us an advantage going into the second leg.
Absolutely. Got a super chat from Miss Crosswell. Thanks very much. Regular contributor to the show. Says, Conor Bradley is my Northern Irish star boy. He's going to have the game of his life and prove himself. I'm surprised he's not playing Bobby Clark. I imagine we will see Bobby Clark at some point.
Yeah, I do.
I'll be shocked if he doesn't. If we don't see some of them, I don't think all those three in the midfield will play the entire 90 minutes. A couple more on a positive note, Steve, because I feel like we've looked at things that could go wrong. Listen, it's a very strong Liverpool team that are home in a semi-final. Personally, Diogo Jota gets into my Liverpool team every single day of the week, and it looks like he's not only is he going to play, by all accounts, he's going to go and lead the line as well. And yet, if Liverpool are looking for someone to fill the goal-scoring void left by Mohamed Salah, I mean, as options go, Diogo Jota's a good one. He's been in good little form. He was excellent off the bench the other day in a very similar role, and yet it looks like a lot of responsibility there in terms of goals, assists, creativity. Getting Liverpool off the pitch is going to rest on his shoulders. But yeah, since his little return from injury, he's in good nick, isn't he?
Best finisher in the club as well, so that's never a bad thing to have him through the middle, and he does score goals regularly, and he likes this competition. Remember the Leicester game with the penalty and the way he celebrated with their fans, it made us all laugh. Big responsibility. I think it should be him and Gakpo vying for the central spot. I think when we've seen the switches where we've put Darwin out left halfway through games twice now, it's changed the game completely, and his heat maps and everything show that he's been more effective out of there. So I'm all for giving Jota the run tonight. It's interesting because that's a very technical midfield. If you look at it, McAllister's a technical player, Gravenberch is a technical player, and Curtis Jones is in the form of his life. So you talk about battles. It won't be necessarily be physical in there. We might just do them with a bit of skill and a bit of technical ability. That's a really strong midfield. As I said before, the Gravenberch thing, he started really well and it's plateaued out a little bit. We need to see him explode. Tonight would be a good night to start doing that. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's a positive team. It's a team where if things go well, you'd like to think we can get this to a point where it's hard for Fulham to get back in, in the return leg. It's there for Liverpool to take a massive step into the finals.
Yeah. The interesting thing for me on the Gravenberch position in the sense there, when he first started, it was Szoboszlai. We was used to Szoboszlai being the heart of everything through that midfield. Yeah. He was the maestro in that, and I think Gravenberch struggled because it went in his cameos. Szoboszlai was coming off, and then he kind of absorbed that role. Maybe moving him over to that right side. Now it's almost a nod to be like, I want you to be that maestro again now. And again, as you just said, the word I thought stood out to me was explode. Do something that's going to be explosive, become a problem, because we know Curtis is always going to be about retention, recycling, pressing, his work rate off the ball. We know McAllister, he's going to be, he's going to be shielding things. We want him to screen for that back four. But Gravenberch, there's a specific role that we need from you, and it's to kind of emulate some of those early performances that Szoboszlai was putting in for us, because that's what potentially could be the additional bit of skill that you've just alluded to there, really, when it comes to that battle in midfield, mate.
So it's going to be interesting to stay. I'm going to come to your score predictions in a moment. All you guys in the live chat or in the Discord chat, get your thinking caps on as well as we come to you for your predictions in a minute. Just one final question. I'll start with you, Steele, opposed to saying what you and Errol. Liverpool v Fulham games recently have been quite tight, obviously, in terms of end result. Liverpool needed a bit of a late comeback in the league a few weeks ago. Do you think Jurgen learned anything from that game that he'll do differently tonight? Because for a while there, although Liverpool, got themselves in a good position earlier, they ended up really struggling that game, chasing the game, and not only did they end up trying to chase a winner, they were chasing the equaliser before they chased the winner. So do you think we learned anything from that Fulham game a few weeks ago, where maybe that maybe we were caught by surprise, anything that Liverpool could really need to be looking out for? Because like I say, Fulham did give Liverpool a bloody nose, and they've given them a couple of bloody noses recently in recent years with Marco Silva's team.
The bloody nose was like, remember that Tyson Fury punch where he punched himself in the nose? It kind of felt like that a little bit for Liverpool for me. They didn't help themselves on the night, and that's been a bit of a thing against Fulham. So whilst you have to give Fulham all the respect that they deserve, and doing the semi-finals for a reason, I think the destiny of this is in Liverpool's hands. If Liverpool give you a 75 minutes of control and proper football, the quality should be too much for Fulham. We are sometimes the makers of our own problems, and I think if we learn anything, it's how did that happen and how do we avoid that?
Yeah, and what do you reckon? Because I was thinking on that day, I was surprised because Fulham had struggled to score goals before they played us, and so they
haven't been able to stop since they
but just before they played, they got into a little bit of rhythm, and then they've gone on a real good scoring run. I learned in that game that they're not just going to sit back. They're not a team who just parks a bus. They're going to come and play, because they don't think not that they're not good enough, because they've got good players, but I think they realise they're better players than attacking players. So I was expecting that they actually a bit of a park the bus team, and they were anything but. Andy Robinson was bombing down the left hand. He was overlapping on the day. It wasn't Willian who started, but they threw Willian on to try and win the game, and they come very close to doing so. So that's what I learned from them, and maybe Liverpool needs to be a bit more aware of that. We've
got to be street smart, and I think that was a good
turnovers of possession, that kind of stuff.
Things like that as well, and obviously being alert to those dangers and the areas that they can hurt us. Obviously, set pieces being one of them. Again, don't want that to be another thorn on Liverpool's side, but I think they've shown, as much as they all take confidence from their performance and felt like they probably could have taken at least a point away from Anfield in the league, they've shown their hand a little bit in terms of what you've just mentioned there about their setup and their approach play, because it'll be interesting to see how much of their team will want to soak up and how long, because it's over 2 legs, and that might throw them off a little bit. If you don't want to burn out too quick and really go for it and be out of the tie and still have another 90 minutes to play with, they know they're not going to have no chance of coming back into the game. So I think we're better suited to managing 2 legs than this Fulham side are, and I think that might be one of the biggest factors for them, because they're only used to trying to get it done in 90 minutes. So that managing of the minutes and how much you put into it and how resolute and how disciplined they choose to stay, that'll be the really interesting watch for me.
Yeah, absolutely. It does the approach change, because that a draw, if they park a bus, go back with a 0-0 or whatever, that's a result.
Discipline is the key for Fulham tonight.
Do you think? Yeah.
Don't make sure you're still in the tie when you get to Craven Cottage. A few minutes of history says 2-0 to Liverpool. Thomas says Ste Errol and how Liverpool are going to win by 4. We do tend to bring in the good luck, to be fair. Can't argue with that one. Diane's reckon 2-1 or 3-1. Diane, you've got to pick one. You can't have two predictions. Ben's gone for a little 2-0 to the Reds.
GS has gone 5-2 on Harrogate, 3-1 for us tonight, and then 2-1 for us at the Cottage.
Wolf, shout out to Wolf Webster's watching along, says 3-1 to the Reds. Gomez to score his first goal. Everyone's been on that Gomez. There's a few bets on Joey, isn't he? Mikey's gone for a 4-1, which feels, I'd love it if it is, feels a bit optimistic. Dom's gone for a 2-0. Steak, gonna come to you then. Liverpool versus Fulham, what do you reckon?
I'm gonna go for a 1-0 to the Reds.
Oh, okay.
We've changed quite a lot in the team again. It's about partnerships and relationships, and there's a few new ones again tonight. So Last time I said 1-0, we won by 4. So
1-0.
I'm not soft. I remember it well.
Take it.
I was going to go for a 2-0. As long as we keep a clean sheet, I reckon that'll do us over the course of the 2 legs, to be completely honest with you. So 2-0 tonight will see me very happy on the way home.
2-1, I reckon. I'm going to go 2-1, but I'd much prefer yours.
You reckon this Fulham team have got more goals than an Arsenal side, yeah?
Yeah. I think us 3 have got more goals than Arsenal at the moment.
Imagine us as a front 3, yeah, we have. I've seen you finish, you're an handy up front.
Yeah, I just can't run.
I
can run far. I just can't run fast.
Yeah.
I get about.
I'm the opposite. I can run fast. I just can't run far.
Steve's got a bad knee. But how are you feeling?
Now shooting was always both feet, mate.
Both sorted.
We're sorted. We've got it. Yeah.
Me and you do the wing for us. Stay up front to finish it. You can be our Jota.
Happy days.
I'll be the Elliot with no pace on the right hand side.
And I'll be Darwin. Fuck it, pure chaos.
Absolute
chaos.
Get everyone smiles and vibes.
I'll be like Ricky Lambert playing now.
Absolutely. Fill your boots. Right then, we'll be back with the watch along Liverpool versus Fulham at 1:45. So do come and join us for that. Thanks from me, thanks from Errol, thanks from Ste, and yes, he is at 1:45. See you in a bit.
Hey, thank you so much for checking out the content today. If you want to get your name in and amongst these wonderful people, then head to redmenplus.com. Join as a Legend tier subscriber. You're going to get free merchandise codes. You're going to get in our Discord, and you're going to get your name at the end of YouTube videos. Yes, redmenplus.com, Legend tier status.